Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my presentation for today. My name is Thanos. So today we're going to talk about the gender equality in the workplace, comparing the Middle East with Europe. So first here we have our table of contents. We're going to talk about introduction, Middle East gender gap, European gender gap, gender pay gap, what are the main causes of the gender pay gap, underrepresentation of women in power and decision-making positions, comparison of inequality, conclusion, and then we're going to have our references. So first, introduction. Even though communities and people in general nowadays have changed and being extremely open-minded, we still can see that the inequality still exists between the two genders in the workplace. The inequality is visible not only in the countries located in the Middle East, but in the European countries as well. What are the main issues in each area and how they differ? So first, Middle East gender gap. Women in the Middle East have achieved impressive gains in a number of social indices, but still have the world's lowest rates of labor force participation. The combination of legal and social restrictions and the lack of employment opportunities obstruct women's economic and political engagement. For young women, rates of unemployment are as high as 40%. At the same time, employment gap between men and women has almost doubled over the last 25 years. And as we can see, it was only 1 in 4 women in the Middle East are employed or looking for work. The region as a whole is the least gender equal in the world. The region gender gap stands at 59%, where 100% represents perfectly equality between men and women. Current laws designed to protect women, which limit where and when they can work, often simply exclude them by making them less attractive to employers. One of the main reasons why inequality exists in Middle East in huge numbers is because of the religion and the Islamic law that suggests that women are lower than the men, as well as that a man and a woman with no bond relationship should not come in any way in personal contact. Now we're going to talk about the European gender gap. Equality between women and men is one of the European Union's founding values. It goes back to 1957, when the principle of equal pay for equal work became part of the Treaty of Rome. The European Union's achievement in fostering equality between women and men have helped to change the lives of many European citizens for the better. The EU has made significant progress over the last decades. This is mainly thanks to the equal treatment legislation, gender mainstreaming, integration of the gender perspective into all other policies, specific measures for the advancement of women. However, gender gaps remain, and in the labor market, women are still overrepresented and underrepresented in decision-making positions. Gender pay gap. On average, women in EU earn around 60% less per hour than men. The impact of the gender pay gap means that women earn less over their lifetimes. This results in lower pension and a risk of poverty in old age. In 2012, 21.7% of women aged 67 and over were at risk of poverty, compared to 16.3% of men. The overall employment rate for women in Europe is around 63%, compared to around 75% for men. But what are the main causes of the gender pay gap? In certain cases, women and men are not paid the same wages, although they carry out the same work or work of equal value, due to discrimination. The result of so-called direct discrimination, where women are simply treated less favorably than men. Another reason, different jobs, different sectors. Women and men carry out different jobs and often work in different sectors. Sectors where women are in the majority have lower wages than those dominated by men. Undervaluing of women work and skills. Women's skills and competence are often undervalued, especially in occupations where they are in majority. This results in lower rates of pay of women. For instance, a female cashier in a supermarket earns less than a man working in the stockroom. Underrepresentation of women in power and decision-making positions. Across the EU, women are underrepresented in positions of responsibility in all fields. Particularly at the highest levels, women are still largely outnumbered by men in leadership positions, in politics and business, as well as in other fields. In the European Parliament, 3 in 10 members are women, and that's a statistic from 2000 to 2014. The situation is worse in business, with on average 1 in 6 women members of boards in Europe's largest publicly quoted companies, and only 4% of board chairpersons. Europeans believe that the business community is dominated by men who do not have sufficient confidence in women, and that women have less freedom because of their family responsibilities. And now, the comparison of inequality. We can now easily identify that both regions have gender inequality issues in the workplace. Obviously, EU is doing big steps to change the situation many years now. That's why we see that biggest number of women are employed. Unfortunately, most of the positions that women hold are low positions, and the number of power and decision-making positions that are held by women is really small. Except that the wages are normally lower than men, even for the same working positions. On the other side, in the Middle East, we can see that enormous steps should be done for the improvement of inequality. Most of the women do not have the opportunity of working, and even the ones that do working, they meet the same problem as the women in EU. So, to conclude, the shortening of the gender inequality gap can help all countries in both regions in many ways, as creating a fairer and more equal society. Greater equality between men and women would bring benefits to the economy and to society in general. Supplying quality jobs are crucial for building a positive working environment where all workers are valued for their work. It would be good for business, workers, and the economy. Employers can benefit from using women's talents and skills more effectively. Avoiding litigation and complaints, ensuring that employees receive equal pay for work, for an equal value in an organization, means that employees avoid complaints that made about discrimination and unfair work practices. This prevents time and money being spent on dealing with complaints and any subsequent litigation. And last one, a basis for economic growth and recovery. It is important to keep the issue of gender equality alive, as women contribute to achieving employment growth, competitiveness, and economic recovery. That's our references. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.